The immortality science. This is something that has been talked about in various forms of fiction like comic books or movies. But what does science have to say about this? Welcome to our channel, where we try to answer the great questions of the universe. Today we are going to be answering the question, can we stop aging? To answer this question, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. The first part will be, can we stop the aging process? In the second part, I'm going to discuss if we should stop the aging process. And finally, I'll discuss how you can stay young forever. So let's get started. So the first part is, can we stop the aging process? Well, the answer to this question is yes and no. Let me explain. If by stop aging you mean that we can find a way for humans to live forever, then the answer is no. We haven't found any scientific evidence that this can be possible. The reason why is because of the entropy law of the universe, which says that everything tends to move towards disorder, and this includes our bodies. As we age, our cells start to become less efficient at repairing themselves, and as a result, they start to accumulate more and more damage. This eventually leads to the cell death. There is some research that suggests that we may be able to slow down the aging process by making lifestyle changes, such as eating a healthy diet and exercising regularly. But even if we were able to do this, it wouldn't really solve the fundamental problem. That is the fact that our cells simply aren't designed to last forever. However, if you were asking whether we can stop the aging process in its tracks so that someone who is 40 years old would remain 40 forever, then the answer is yes. And there are a few ways that we might be able to accomplish this. One approach is to use nanotechnology to repair the damage that occurs in our cells over time. Another approach is to use gene therapy to target the genes that are responsible for aging. And yet another approach is to use drugs to slow down or reverse the aging process. It might sound like science fiction, but the truth is that there are already a number of companies that are working on developing these technologies. For example, a company called Unity Biotechnology is developing a drug that targets a protein called EMER. This protein is involved in the aging process, and inhibiting it has been shown to extend the lifespan of certain organisms. Another company called Ajax Therapeutics is developing a drug that targets a different protein called CLOTHO. This protein is also involved in the aging process, and mice that have been genetically engineered to overexpress CLOTHO live longer than normal. But even if we develop these technologies, there's no guarantee that they will be safe or effective. After all, we are talking about messing with the very essence of what it means to be human. And even if we do manage to develop a technology that allows us to live forever, there's no guarantee that we want to use it. And this brings me to the second part of my answer, which is whether we should stop the aging process. There are many arguments both for and against stopping the aging process. On the one hand, aging is associated with a lot of suffering. As we age, we become more susceptible to disease and our bodies start to break down. This can cause a lot of pain and suffering, not only for the individual, but also for their loved ones. On the other hand, some people argue that aging is a natural and necessary part of life. They argue that it is through our struggles in life that we learn and grow, and that if we could live forever, we would never truly be able to appreciate the things that we have. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to stop the aging process is a personal one. There is no right or wrong answer, but it is important to consider all of the ethical implications before making a decision. Some people might say that if we are able to develop the technology to stop the aging process, then we should use it. After all, why wouldn't we want to live forever if we had the opportunity? Others might argue that we should only use this technology to alleviate suffering. If we can find a way to stop the aging process without causing more suffering, then it would be ethical to do so. Still, others might argue that we should never mess with the natural order of things and that we should never try to live forever. If you are interested in learning more about the ethics of aging, I recommend reading an article called The Ethics of Life Extension by David A. Clark. In this article, Clark discusses the various arguments for and against extending human lifespan. He also discusses the potential risks and benefits of life extension, and he concludes by offering his own thoughts on the matter. You can read the full article online. Now, the third and final part of my answer is how can you stay young forever? Now I know that this might sound like I'm being evasive, but the truth is that there is no single answer to this question. How we age is influenced by a number of factors, including our genes, our lifestyle, and our environment. There is no one-size-fits-all answer to how we can best take care of ourselves as we age. However, there are some general tips that can help us all stay healthy and independent as we enter our golden years. One of the most important things we can do is to make healthy lifestyle choices. This means eating a balanced diet, getting regular exercise, and avoiding tobacco and excessive alcohol consumption. These are all things that we can control, and they can have a major impact on how we age. In addition to making healthy lifestyle choices, we also need to be aware of our family history and take steps to mitigate any risks. For example, if we have a family history of heart disease, we need to be extra careful about our diet and exercise habits. Finally, we need to be proactive when it comes to our health. This means seeing our doctor regularly for checkups and screenings, as well as staying up to date on our vaccinations. By taking these steps, we can help ensure that we stay healthy and independent as we age. Aging is a natural process that we all go through. It's not something we can avoid, but it is something we can prepare for. By making healthy lifestyle choices, being aware of our family history, and being proactive with our health, we can all take steps to ensure that we age as gracefully as possible. So, can we stop the aging process? Yes and no. It is up to you to decide whether you want to try to stop the aging process or not. But even if we don't try to stop the aging process, we can still take steps to ensure that we age as gracefully as possible. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week on a variety of topics in science, technology, and mathematics. So there's always something new to learn. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.